I woke up to the usual sounds of the apartment. The hum of the refrigerator. The faint buzz of my phone charging. My wife was still asleep. I watched her for a moment, tracing the curve of her shoulder with my eyes, feeling that familiar warmth in my chest. It was quiet. Ordinary. Comfortable. This is the life we had built together, or so I thought. I had coffee, a slice of toast, and then moved to my laptop to check my messages. Work, bills, small talk from friends. Everything normal. The kind of normal that feels safe. I hadn't thought much beyond the day ahead, trusting that life was predictable. I trusted her. I trusted us. There was no reason to question anything. No one had ever given me a reason. The routine itself felt like reassurance. The small details mattered: the way she made tea in the morning, the way she laughed at small jokes, the way she folded her arms when she was thinking. It was the pattern of familiarity. I thought I could read her. I thought I knew her. I didn't suspect anything could disturb it. The first sign was subtle, almost unnoticeable. A text notification appeared on her phone while she was in the shower. I didn't look at it, but something about the timing felt off. I told myself I was imagining things. People get texts. It doesn't mean anything. Still, I noticed it. I noticed the small distance she began to put between us. She laughed less during dinner. She spent more time on her phone, even when nothing urgent was happening. I could feel it, the shift, but I couldn't name it. I tried to ignore it, telling myself I was being paranoid. But the silence at night started to weigh on me differently. She slept while I stared at the ceiling, thinking about nothing and everything at once. I wanted to ask, to reach, to understand. But I didn't. I told myself patience was better than confrontation. I told myself trust was everything. Weeks passed, and the distance grew quietly. She was polite, kind even, but the warmth was thinner. I asked her about work, about friends, about plans. Answers came, but they felt rehearsed. I sensed pauses, the kind that hid more than they revealed. I began to notice small inconsistencies. A story about a meeting didn't match up with another detail. A comment about a friend seemed off. My heart would tighten for a moment, then I'd push it down. Maybe I was imagining things. Maybe I was being sensitive. Still, I kept a mental ledger, little observations I wasn't ready to confront. The tension wasn't explosive. There was no yelling. Just a quiet emptiness growing between us. I tried to fill it with my own distractions: work, errands, exercise, but the unease returned at night. I felt trapped inside my own mind, cycling through possibilities. Nothing made sense, but the sense of unease persisted. One evening, I noticed something I shouldn't have. A message notification on her laptop. I hesitated. Curiosity clawed at me. I sat there, hands tense, deciding whether to look. Part of me wanted to respect her privacy. Part of me wanted to know. I opened it. The message was casual, friendly, but the tone, the choice of words, it felt intimate. A connection I hadn't known existed. My chest tightened. I closed the laptop immediately. I told myself I didn't see anything. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe I was reading too much into it. Still, the seed of doubt had been planted. I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't unknow it. That night, sleep came in fragments. Every memory, every laugh, every touch replayed itself in my mind, reframed through suspicion. Days passed with that tension lingering. I avoided confrontation, convincing myself the distance was just temporary stress. I watched her closely, noticing subtle gestures, the way her eyes lingered on her phone, the way she seemed distracted during small conversations. I tried to remind myself of the good, of the years of shared moments. but doubt kept creeping in. I replayed the messages over and over in my mind, wondering if she could sense my unease. I wondered if she had already chosen, in some way, a space between us that I couldn't reach. I felt a quiet anger, not explosive, but heavy. I wanted clarity. I wanted understanding. Yet, I hesitated to ask. The quiet ache of uncertainty was easier to bear than a confrontation that might shatter the life we had built. The truth revealed itself slowly. Not in a confrontation, not in a fight, but in a quiet accident. A file left open on her computer. Words, images, conversations mundane but undeniable. I stared, frozen. There was no scream, no accusation. Just a hollow realization. My hands trembled slightly. My stomach turned. And yet, I did not yell. I did not demand. I could only sit and breathe. The apartment felt larger and emptier all at once. Every object seemed to weigh on me differently. I went to the kitchen, made a cup of coffee, tried to act normal while my mind replayed every small sign I had ignored. The ordinary details of life, the clink of the spoon, the hum of the refrigerator felt sharper, heavier. The calm surface of our life had a hidden depth I hadn't imagined. We sat together that evening, and I did not speak immediately. She noticed my stillness. She asked what was wrong. I answered minimally. The words we exchanged were simple, almost mundane, but underneath them flowed the tension that had been growing for weeks. I didn't shout. She didn't confess. We just existed in that space, words and silences overlapping. I realized then how much I had built on assumptions, on trust that felt unshakable. I had ignored signs, rationalized distance, and convinced myself the ordinary was enough. Now, that ordinary felt fragile. I understood that our relationship had layers I hadn't seen, and that awareness carried its own weight. Later, she explained, calmly, without dramatics. Details emerged, small and careful, explaining choices, conversations, minor mistakes, misunderstandings. I listened. I did not interrupt. I did not react with anger. I absorbed. Every word carried weight. The story she told did not match the narrative I had built in my mind, but it clarified much. The reality was nuanced, human, and imperfect. My perception, my expectations, my assumptions, they had shaped the tension as much as anything else. I realized how easily trust could be tested, how quietly distance could form, and how fragile the balance of understanding truly was. That night, I reflected. Alone, with a cup of coffee in my hands, I revisited every memory, every laugh, every quiet moment. Some things I understood differently now. Some things remained ambiguous. I accepted that not everything needed explanation. Some human truths are messy, quiet, and unresolved. I felt a heaviness, yes, but also clarity. I understood the depth of our bond, even if it had cracks I hadn't imagined. The ordinary life I had taken for granted now carried layers I had not seen. I could still feel warmth, but it was tempered with awareness, with a sense of reality I couldn't ignore. In the end, I did not seek revenge. I did not demand dramatic gestures. I sat with the understanding I had. I could still trust, in some way, while holding awareness of human flaws. Life continued ordinary, imperfect, calm. We moved through it, quieter perhaps, but more aware. The moments of laughter, conversation, and small gestures of care carried more weight now. I accepted the quiet complexity of love, trust, and imperfection. And I understood, finally, that emotional clarity does not always come with resolution, but it comes with acknowledgement. And that, in itself, is a kind of peace.